Over the age of 65, many people become more attentive to their physical health. They notice joint stiffness, changes in energy, or shifts in sleep. But brain health often changes more quietly. It doesn't usually announce itself with dramatic symptoms. Instead, it's shaped day by day, through small habits that seem harmless at the time. And that's what makes this topic important. Not because something is wrong, but because awareness allows choice. And choice supports independence. Today, we'll explore 7 everyday habits that can slowly affect brain health over time. These are not diagnoses. They are patterns that researchers and health professionals often associate with cognitive aging. You may recognize some of them. Many people do. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked habits. The first habit is long periods of mental passivity. This doesn't mean rest is bad. Rest is necessary. But when the mind goes too long without challenge, it may become less flexible. Some retirees naturally settle into predictable routines, watching television for many hours, repeating the same conversations, avoiding new skills because they feel inconvenient or unnecessary. The brain, like any system in the body, responds to use. When it encounters novelty, a new route, a new idea, a new skill, it adapts. When novelty disappears, adaptation slows. This doesn't mean learning must be complicated. It could be reading unfamiliar topics, learning a few words of another language, solving puzzles, or even trying new recipes. The key idea is engagement. Not pressure, not stress, just gentle stimulation. And that leads to a related but different habit. The second habit is social withdrawal that gradually becomes routine. Solitude itself is not harmful. Many people enjoy peaceful time alone. But extended isolation can affect mood, motivation, and cognitive activity. Conversation does something unique for the brain. It requires listening, processing, recalling, responding, all in real time. It engages emotional and cognitive systems simultaneously. Some older adults reduce social contact without noticing how gradually it happens. Friends move away. Mobility changes. Calls become less frequent. Outings feel tiring. Weeks pass quietly. Over time, reduced interaction may be associated with slower recall and reduced mental sharpness. Not always, but often enough that it deserves attention. Even brief contact matters. A regular phone call, a short walk with a neighbor, a community group once a week. Connection doesn't need to be large. It just needs to be consistent. The next habit is more physical, but its effects often reach the brain. The third habit is chronic sleep disruption that becomes normalized. Many seniors say, sleep changes with age. That can be true. But persistent poor sleep is not something to simply accept without reflection. Sleep supports memory consolidation. It allows the brain to process information and restore balance between different systems. When sleep becomes fragmented, frequent waking, very short duration, irregular timing, mental clarity during the day may gradually change. Some people adapt to feeling a little foggy and assume it is inevitable. But sometimes it reflects sleep patterns that can be gently improved. Simple adjustments may help. Maintaining consistent sleep and wake times. Reducing late evening stimulation. Allowing daylight exposure in the morning. Discussing persistent issues with a professional. Not every sleep problem is serious, but long-term disruption is worth attention. The fourth habit often surprises people because it seems unrelated to thinking. The fourth habit is physical inactivity that slowly reduces circulation. Movement supports more than muscles and joints. It supports blood flow throughout the body, including the brain. When daily movement decreases significantly, circulation patterns can change. Over long periods, reduced activity is often associated with changes in cognitive energy and processing speed. This doesn't require intense exercise. Gentle, regular movement can be meaningful. Walking at a comfortable pace, light stretching, simple balance exercises, daily household activity. The body and brain function as a system. When one part slows dramatically, others often follow. The next habit is quieter and often emotional. The fifth habit is unaddressed chronic stress or lingering worry. Many older adults carry responsibilities that others may not see. Financial concerns, health uncertainty, family stress, or memories that remain unresolved. Occasional stress is part of life. But when worry becomes constant background noise, the mind rarely experiences full rest. Long-term stress responses can affect attention, memory formation, and emotional resilience. Not immediately, but gradually. Some people believe strength means carrying everything silently, but support is not weakness. It is regulation. This support might be talking openly with a trusted person, practicing calming routines, spending time in nature, seeking professional guidance when needed. Emotional health and brain health are deeply connected. Caring for one supports the other. The sixth habit is surprisingly common in modern life. The sixth habit is over-reliance on convenience thinking. Technology makes many tasks easier. Reminders, navigation, automatic payments, voice assistants. These tools are helpful. But when they replace most effortful thinking, the brain may be challenged less often. For example, always using GPS for familiar routes, relying entirely on reminders instead of recall, avoiding mental arithmetic, choosing passive consumption over active thinking. Convenience is not harmful by itself, but balance matters. Occasionally allowing the brain to remember, calculate, plan, and solve strengthens cognitive pathways that support independence. Small efforts accumulate quietly in both directions. The final habit is subtle, and many people do not recognize it until later. The seventh habit is neglecting sensory health. Vision and hearing changes are common with aging. Many people adapt gradually and assume nothing more needs to be done. But sensory input is a primary way the brain stays engaged with the world. When hearing becomes reduced, conversations require more effort. People may withdraw slightly. Mental stimulation decreases without intention. When vision becomes limited, reading, navigation, and interaction may change. These shifts are not simply inconveniences. They can influence cognitive engagement. Addressing hearing or vision changes when possible helps maintain connection with the environment, and connection supports brain function. When you look at these 7 habits together, a pattern emerges. None of them are dramatic. None of them happen overnight. And none of them means something is already wrong. They are simply everyday patterns that can shape how the brain ages over time. Awareness is not meant to create worry. It is meant to create opportunity. Opportunity to stay engaged. Opportunity to remain connected. Opportunity to protect independence. Aging is not only about what declines. It is also about what is maintained through intention. Many older adults who remain mentally sharp share common patterns. They stay curious. They stay socially connected. They keep moving. They care for sleep. They respect emotional well-being. Not perfectly, not constantly, but consistently. If you recognize yourself in one or more of today's habits, that recognition itself is meaningful. Change rarely begins with dramatic action. It often begins with quiet awareness. One small adjustment today may support clarity tomorrow. And if you ever notice persistent or concerning changes in memory, thinking, or mood, it's important to speak with a qualified professional. Guidance provides direction, and direction supports confidence. Growing older brings many changes, but dignity, awareness, and self-care remain within reach at every stage of life. Take care of your mind the way you would care for something valuable, gently, consistently, and with patience. If this reflection helped you think differently about daily habits, You may find value in exploring other aspects of healthy aging and independence. Thank you for spending this time in thoughtful awareness.